Hey everyone, welcome back to Everything is Portable, and today we have with us the artist Deeride. I actually met her at World Art Dubai, where one of my friends was showcasing one of her art pieces, and I came across her painting. It's called Worthy, and it's based on the Japanese form of art, kintsugi. And I'd love for you to talk a little bit more about that piece, because when I saw it, it was really beautiful. The colors stood out to me, the red, the gold. It just was so beautifully put together, and then to hear the story of just being whole and broken and everything at the same time, all of that coming together. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about that piece.
Of course. I mean, it's my favorite piece from my collection from 2024. The collection is called the Broken Series. It started with actually this one being the Genesis piece, and the red piece was actually the second one that I created. And the reason I created it was because I made a mistake with this. It was totally an accident. I was trying to get the clean lines of textured art, which is very symmetrical, very beautiful, very nice, perfect, right? And if you look at this, you can clearly see the imperfections, and I hated it. I was just like, I did all this work and it's just a mess, and I just left it. I think I made this in 2023 and I just left it aside. And then I kept looking back at it and it started growing on me, and I realized that my want for perfection was so unwarranted, and there was no need for it. And there was this whole conversation that at the time I was going through with my therapist as well, about how I'm constantly looking for perfection, and how I really need to let go, and who I'm actually hearing in my head, calling out these imperfections, so-called perceived imperfections. And I think as a society in a whole, we've started looking at everything and wanting to look perfect and wanting to look do things perfectly. And I think that's such a fallacy, because none of us are perfect. Even the most Instagrammable, perfect Instagram model, influencer, whoever it is, they have so many imperfections in their life, they're just not showcasing it. And so started the story of the Broken Series, because even in imperfection we will find beauty, and that's what I really wanted everyone to appreciate. So I really love the Worthy piece, by the way. It's my favorite one from the Broken Series. I don't know if I said that already, but the red is so bright and vibrant, and I really have a soft spot for red. The rest of the series is a lot more muted. It's got blues and greens, and it's something a lot of people resonated with. I think it was very important for me to have a story behind the pieces that I was creating, because I'm not just an abstract artist, I'm a conceptual abstract artist. So for me, it's important to tell these stories through my artwork.
Yeah, it's just that with this piece, it spoke a lot to me, because looking at it, I was like, it looks so perfect and whole. And even the whole point of the Japanese form of art, which is kintsugi, is basically putting in gold and silver into broken pieces of pottery.
Yes.
Showing you that no matter how broken you think you are, you're still whole.
Yes, it's a unique part of you.
Yeah.
Because it's a part of your history, and it talks about mental health as well, right? We go through all of these traumas, and we're constantly trying to help ourselves, and we think of ourselves as less than, and I don't think we are less than. We are all works in progress, and we're constantly trying to better ourselves. And the piece was about, these things are all broken, fine. It's not perfect, but it's still beautiful, because it makes you you.
Yeah.
And it makes you uniquely who you are. And none of us are the same. And thank God for that, because what a boring world that would be, right?
So this piece basically talks about how we're constantly chasing perfection, and in this world of where everyone's just striving for perfection, it's basically a reminder of it's okay to be imperfect, it's okay to be you. And there's so many times that we go through, that's why the piece really spoke to me, because it's you go through so much in life, and then you start putting yourself down and looking down on yourself because of your failures or because of your weaknesses.
Oh my God, yes.
And but what you fail to realize is that this is what makes you you, this is what makes you unique, and this experience is like, it's just like wonderfully you. So like nobody can have the experience that you've had, and
100%.
nobody can do what you do with that experience.
100%.
So it was just such a great reminder of basically being worthy.
Worthy itself was a piece which was healing for my inner child, because growing up I was always told I don't study well. All the things, the expectations were so high. My sister was very high achieving. I was just an average student. I was very creative. I was very like artsy. I loved doing all of those things, right? But like, again, it depends on the culture you're raised in, the environment you're raised in, and like our families stress about you having money and living your life. So those kind of things, I don't blame them for wanting me to have a corporate career as such, but it was always like I wasn't enough in that standard, and it kind of always hurt me, and like I used to talk down to myself. And like one of the things that really helped me was a session where I was told to close my eyes and remember the childhood picture of yourself. Okay, your favorite childhood picture. There's a picture you love seeing of yourself as a little child. Think of her and really think about the way you talk to yourself. Would you ever say those words out loud to that child? And I have to keep remembering whenever I put myself down that like I'm talking to that child, and I wouldn't hurt any of my little godchildren or my nieces or my nephews. I would never speak to them that way. So why would I speak to myself that way? And it's so important to remind yourself that you're worthy. And the song, the name itself actually came from my music artist called Nemesis, my favorite music artist called Nemesis. And her song was, I can't remember the name of the song, but it literally had this line said, "Do you think I'm worthy of affection?" And for some reason, I was looking at this painting while this song was playing, and I was just like, oh, Jesus, okay, it just was so powerful to me in that moment. So it was important that I named it Worthy. And that was the first piece that was actually named. This didn't even have a name, even though this was made first. That was the piece that was named.
Yeah, so there are certain pieces that just speak for themselves.
Yeah.
You don't really need to do any explaining, and they just
100%.
It's open to interpretation, and it's so impactful. You mentioned that you've always been artsy.
Yes.
And what have you dabbled in?
Oh my God.
In terms of
what
creativity?
What have I not dabbled in? See, I think my mom's to blame, because she was one of those moms who was like, you have to go for everything. You have to go for dance class, you have to do music, you have to do art, you have to do a language. So we used to try and do everything possible. And I really loved all of the creative stuff. And when I was in school, and I still have some of the sketchbooks that I have, we used to design clothes for ourselves, because like, again, we came from a middle class family. We couldn't just keep buying clothes. So for me, it was like, oh, we get to design and take it to the tailor, and it's like a new dress. And those are the kind of things that we used to look forward to. So anyways, one of my dreams was to be a fashion designer. And this was the start of it. It did not work out for whatever reason. And then I had to come to UAE back again after my college, start a corporate career. After that, I dabbled in like photography, food photography specifically, but that's expanded quite a bit. And after that, I was doing makeup. So I was doing creative makeup. I have a TikTok account which is for it, and I'm still doing it. Most recently, I did my cousin's makeup for her wedding. So it's not like I don't do it. It's just I don't go by that name as such. So yeah, I've been creative all my life. I've just dabbled a lot. Canvas was always something that I kept coming back to. Drawing, sketching, painting. It was always something I kept wanting to do more and more of. So yeah, finally, I think I took the plunge around 2023. So my friends were just like, you're doing so many beautiful artworks. Why didn't you sell it? And I was like, fine, I'll sell it. How hard could it be? And there's one problem with me. It's kind of like if someone says, I don't think you can do that. I will show you how. that is my biggest and my favorite trait, I think. It's just I don't like people telling me I can't do something, because the moment they do that, then I'm just like, okay, fine, no problem, I'll show you. And I've been really, really lucky and blessed. I've made some really good sales. I made some really good connections with art collectors. So it's been a pretty good journey for me. I know a lot of artists don't have that journey for whatever reason. And it's important that we all make sales, because yes, some artists just want to paint, but others want to actually have others see them as well. So, and there's so many wonderful artists out there who really want to showcase their stories as well.
So being such a creative person, and now you're even selling your art, you've just dabbled in like so many different spheres of creativity. How does it feel to work in corporate while you have this like very eccentric side to you, and then you have to bring this like 9 to 5 monotonous routine side as well?
It is a struggle.
How's that balance like?
It is a struggle. I mean, I've been very privileged because most of my jobs have entailed me doing work with problem solving. So I get to be creative in that aspect. So it still keeps to my sense of like creative in a corporate environment. But I'm also very like systematic in the way I do things. So that's also been a good thing. I've thrived in my corporate career, to be very honest, and it was I reached every height I wanted to, and I started kind of not feeling fulfilled. I was like literally a senior manager at my last project, and I was just like, is this what I want? Is this the life that I want? And it was on a contract basis. So when the contract ended, as it does with contract work, you pretty much, you have like multiple people reaching out to you going like, oh, we want you to join this one or that one. And I was like, I'm gonna take 3 months just to like, I was burnt out, let me be very honest, because I remember going into a meeting and feeling like I was losing my head, and I would like not have any good circumstances at the end of it. Let's be clear about that. And I just felt like I was really tired. I was stressed, I was shivering because my entire body was revolting against the amount of work and stress I've had. I've been working since I was 20 in the corporate world, so that was almost 15 years plus at that point of continuously working back to back. And it was just a moment for me to really reevaluate, do you want to do this? If so, what are your terms? How is it going to look different moving forward? And I really hope, like, whoever's watching this, don't wait 15 years to do that. Do the evaluation as soon as you can, because it's very exhausting at some point, to reach that. And that was when I was also, to manage my mental health, I went back to painting. And that's when I started creating. And the more I created, the more I felt better. And studies have shown that if you work with your hand in whatever capacity, you just have better mental health. So it's always good. You can do gardening, you can paint, you can play the piano, whatever you decide to do. So I decided this is it. And this was where I was the happiest, creating, being creative, telling stories. This is who I've always been.
Yeah.
And even in my corporate career, I know all of my ex-colleagues feel the same way. I was like, oh yeah, I can totally see Danya being an artist. Like, there was no shock about it, right? Like, there was no, oh, that's weird. No, that was the reaction at all. It's just, oh, I didn't know really about it. But it kind of tracks. It tracks that you would be the artist. So
yeah, we're stuck in this just this rat race of like corporate and just trying to climb up the corporate ladder. And it does feel very unfulfilling a lot of times.
Yeah.
And for you to actually take this leap and get into
it was the
art.
Scariest thing I did. It was genuinely the scariest thing I did, because Did you also do the same thing where you took time off from corporate, or were you working corporate?
No, I took time off, but that was not like I had to. Like it was not because I wanted to. I didn't.
Okay.
It was not intentional, but I did take some time off. But yeah, it's just like I also do have like that feeling sometimes where you're like, okay, what am I doing really? Like, you know, it's like I'm just going every day. I'm doing the same thing. I'm just trying to like make more money. And yes, making money is very important, but it's like, what
what
am I really
extent?
doing with my time, with my life?
yeah.
And I'm not getting to spend that time with my family or with my friends or people I love. And it's just like, what am I doing this for, or who am I doing this for? So yeah, it is really beautiful that you actually decided to take this leap.
You're Gen Z, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You guys are the ones who actually inspired me to do this, because I think I've always had the mentality of what Gen Z has now, which is like we want a work-life balance. We want to be able to do these things that we want to do. Also, I feel like corporate from when I started working versus right now is so much worse in some way. And it was very important for me to reevaluate for myself, because it was not just mental health, my physical health started deteriorating as well. So it was a necessity in my case. And like, I'm glad Gen Z is asking these questions, because it's important. It's a huge part of your life. You know, your work life takes about what, 48 hours a week. If you're not in good work environments, that really affects you. I actually did health and safety for some of the projects that I worked on, so it's a huge matter for me to care about the health, safety, and environment of where people work. So it's it's influenced a lot in my life as well. And I was just like, can't imagine I am taking care of everyone's health and safety when I am literally like failing myself. So I had to prioritize myself, and that's when I started this, and it was important.
So how were those 3 months of taking time off from
The 3 months
corporate?
actually was 7 months, because I said 3 months. Universe said no. It was like, sorry, you need to wait a bit. It was 7 months, and it was stressful, because I was just like, wait, I had only planned for like 6 months maybe. And I was getting a little crazy in terms of finances, because I was not very used to not working. And like, for someone who's worked every single day since she turned 20, it was very like jarring. But yeah, like in hindsight, I wouldn't give it up for anything. It was the best time to really sit, think, reevaluate, reassess, and plan my future. And this is the future.
Yeah, it's very necessary to take time off, focus on your mental health. That's something, you're right, I think Gen Z has really brought it about, this emphasis on mental health and just ensuring that we're always in a good space of mind. Because when you're in a good space of mind, you can bring your best to what you're doing.
Exactly.
Wherever you are, whether it's
whatever you're doing.
whether it's like a friendship, whether it's a relationship, whether it's work, whether it's art.
Okay.
As long as you're in a good space of mind, you can always bring forth the best version of yourself. So that is really important. And yeah, I think the previous generations really did not.
I mean, they just, I don't think they were given the opportunity, one. And like, I feel like there's a certain amount of privilege in being able to do that as well, because I was very privileged, because I had a lot of money saved, so I could do that. I could take 3 months off and not worry about anything. I even traveled during that time. That is so insane. There's so many people out there who can't afford to do that. So like, yes, we can talk about taking time, but mental health, you know, management is very much a privilege. And I think it's very necessary for us to acknowledge that privilege. Not everyone gets it. And you can say you don't want to, money is not everything. I'm one of those people who thinks money is not everything, but at the same time, we need it. We need it for, and I think people who have money always say money is not everything. It's just how it is, because we're just like, yeah, it's fine, we'll always have money. It's like, but there are people really struggling with their health and their mental health and money, and they don't have the privilege of taking 3 months off to evaluate and decide to be an artist. And being an artist is not easy. It's not an easy venture. I know I've had discussions with multiple artists, and some of them do very well. Some of them are very good at marketing themselves. It's very difficult field to break into, and yeah, it's important to really know that going in, like have your eyes wide open. But I've also seen, and I've also seen artists be very dreamy about it. They think it's all going to be a field of roses, and it's not necessarily. There's a lot of thorns that you have to maneuver through. So yeah, it's not an easy thing. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it.
So how has your journey been? Like, what are your highest highs and like your lowest lows in like these? How many years have you been?
Professionally, 3 years.
3 years.
So highest highs. I think every time someone says they want to buy a piece of my art is a high. Like, it doesn't matter how small or big it is. If they call me and they say, hey, actually, I'd like to buy an art piece or have a commission made, I'm just like, yes, please tell me. This is the best thing. Like, this is what I get to do. It's my passion, and like I get to give you a piece of myself. Like, it's so huge for me, because each artwork is a piece of myself, and like it will outlive any children I will ever have. So it's like it's there. It's my legacy, and I everyone who buys into this is basically encouraging me as an artist and encouraging me to create more, and that's the highs. Coming back to the lows are days when I don't feel inspired. I don't feel like doing work. My health is not doing great. I have work to do, which is other things to do, and that takes up a lot of space in my mind, and I can't put what I want to on the canvas. Those are moments where I really, regress mentally also. I just go like, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing better? And then I have to remind myself, even flowers and animals go into hibernation, and that's okay. We were not meant to be running this race the whole time. Like, we need breaks, and that's fine, because literally my new series in 2025 came in my sleep. It was a dream. It was a dream. I went to sleep, I looked at this piece, I hated it. I was just like, whatever, go to sleep. Woke up and I was like, oh my God, I know what this is going to be. And there's a whole new series based on that.
So have you already created that series?
I have 3 pieces in that series. There's going to be another 3 more.
Okay.
And this is also going to be one of the bigger creations that I'm making, because in September I'm doing an event. Well, not an event. It's basically I'm doing my first solo showing. And it's in tie-up with a a restaurant. And they wanted a lot of pieces. So part of my 2025 collection will be unveiled for the first time. You saw some of the 3 pieces at World Art Dubai.
The ones that looked like the Northern Lights. Oh my, yes. They were very beautiful.
Yes. So those are the first 3 pieces.
Okay.
And then the rest of the collection will be unveiled at this event. So they are going to showcase my art for like 3 months at their restaurant, and it's going to be amazing. And it's in the IFC. Yay! Did I make it?
What is
I did.
This? What is this? This new collection of yours? Like, you told me that it came to you in your sleep. So what is it based on?
It's based on the Northern Lights.
Okay.
And it's based on colors. And at the beginning of the year, and even the end of last year, and even most of 2025 has just like, I'm not isolated from what's happening around the world, and it's felt very dark. And these pieces are dark, and the texture is highlighted in vivid color. So for me, it speaks about even in the darkest moments of our life, there is things to be joyful about. There's things to celebrate. I got to celebrate my goddaughter's birthday. I got to see my dad's birthday. There were so many wonderful things that happened, but there were so many sad things that happened. And for me, it was like very important to remember that all these bad things that's happening is not just the only thing that's happening. So to see the light, and I went to see the Northern Lights, I think it was in 2018, and it was a very weird experience, and also an experience that I would highly recommend to everyone, because you go into the middle of nowhere because you need to have zero light pollution to see this. And this phenomenon is basically caused by explosion on the sun's surface, right? And it takes a few days for that to travel and reach the atmosphere of the earth. So it's not something that you can just go like, I'll go for a 2-day trip, say to Norway, and I'll be able to see the Northern Lights. It doesn't work that way. You just wait to see this light show, this world's natural light show. And it is the most amazing experience. You forget about all of the pain, the time, everything that it took to get you to that point, and you just sit there in awe of the world and the nature, and you're just like, why am I worried about my finances when I get to see this amazing phenomenon just happening in front of me? And it was just so beautiful. And I think that comes back to even you need to go into the darker spaces to see and really appreciate the light, and it's very important.
I love how a lot of your collections and a lot of your pieces talk about like being imperfect and perfect at the same time. It's like finding beauty in the ordinary, finding beauty in the dark, finding beauty in brokenness, and
finding beauty in nature. I think nature is a huge part of my inspiration, because I think we spend too much time in offices. I think we spend too much time in offices that don't even have a plant. And it really affects us mentally, and it's really sad, because we deserve better. We deserve to be happy, we deserve to be joyful, and we deserve to find things that make us feel fulfilled, and Excel spreadsheets are not it. So I mean, I'm not dissing the entire corporate world. I'm sure some of y'all really love your Excel spreadsheets. I know that.
I do. I'm in finance. I'm on spreadsheets all day, every day.
And that's fine. That's fair if that's what makes you happy. But I think it's very important for us to also spend time in nature, to see the world, see how other people live. If possible, if within your means, you should travel as much as possible. So these are stories the pieces I make are stories of my travels, the stories of nature, the stories of things that I've seen, the stories of resilience, essentially. So as human beings, we're so resilient. The earth is so resilient. So I just want to remind people, you're fine, babes, you're good. You're good. Just go out, enjoy yourself, just spend time with good people, eat good food. It doesn't matter, have good experiences. It's not all bad. So that was the theme behind this particular series. And I hope 2025 gets better, man. I really hope, because it's really been a weird couple of months.
So creatives are constantly evolving. I mean, even as people, we're constantly changing, we're constantly developing new habits, we're developing new skills. So as a creative, do you feel like your art has changed? Does it constantly evolve with who you are becoming as a person?
I know my art is changing in terms of, I think I'm getting better at it, at creating imperfections, if that is even a thing. But it's, when you do the same thing over and over again, you tend to master the way of doing things. But even then, you can make mistakes, don't get me wrong. Just yesterday, I was creating a piece, and I did not wait for it to dry before totally upping the AC, and the whole thing cracked. I knew better. but I was just very tired and it was very hot in my room. So I was just like, I gave up on that. But yes, evolving as an artist is required. When I first started, I think I didn't necessarily think about the stories I'm telling. It was just more about the creation of these pieces. Now I pay a lot more attention to stories I'm telling, because I've noticed not just the fact that it's the stories of the pieces, but the story of the artist is what people buy into. So while my art collector is this person who knows me personally, and she was just like, oh, I really enjoyed, she worked with me for 1 year only, and 6 years later now she's buying a piece of art from me, and because she's buying into me as a person. And it's important for you to tell those stories. So yes, I do feel like that part has enhanced, the storytelling part has enhanced. Yeah, when you keep doing the same technique, you learn more and you see kind of a difference. You see how you can do this better, or you're constantly learning. Everything you do in life, you either learn or you don't. And if you're the sort of person who doesn't, that's going to be a problem for you down the road. But I'm constantly thirsty to learn. I'm constantly reading books, I'm reading journals, I even sometimes read theses. I love watching videos, anything that's informational. For me, everything is a learning moment, and it's very important for me to learn. So evolution as an artist is just standard for me at this point. So
yeah, I think that's really important, to like constantly grow and evolve as a person. And even the stories that you tell, that's literally why I have this podcast, because I believe that every single person has a story to share, no matter what. And you don't have to be popular, you don't have to be the best, you don't have to be the most perfect, but you have a story to share. So this is what this podcast is about, basically investing into people, hearing their stories, and creating a platform to give it to other people. So you've been like an industry newbie for you've been saying for 3 years now. What kind of tips would you give to people who are just starting out in the art industry?
One of the first things I will tell is, if you're an introvert, it is going to be hard, because unfortunately it's not very easy to get noticed. Talk about your art all the time. And if you're not comfortable doing front-facing roles, like doing podcasts or doing interviews or those kind of things, that's fine. Make videos about your process. Make videos about your inspiration. But artists are storytellers. What is the story you're telling? That is very important to be clear about, because people buy into stories. And it is important to be clear about who you are as an artist and what your painting is depicting, because it's what they will be buying into. An art collector looks at that. There's always going to be someone who is being like, oh, that's such a pretty painting, let me just take it, I don't want to know anything about it. But that's so rare. Okay. The second thing I would say is, and this is something from my corporate learning, keep records of everything, because you might blow up tomorrow and you wouldn't remember when you painted something, what the details were, what the size is. Okay, let's look at this painting, right? At the back of it, I have a name. I have my name. I should have, yes, so the size, what medium has been used, my year of birth, and when it was created. All of these things are important, and it comes, think about it in terms of, can you imagine the masters creating paintings and people having to spend years and years of testing just to figure out which year they made it in. It would take them so much time. So have documentation, Excel sheet to the wind, have the name, have the story, have the size, have the price. And from that, I would say the third thing is consistent pricing. Consistent pricing is very important. You can't just price willy-nilly. You need to have you can't price something for 100 and the next piece for 1,000 dirhams. It just makes no sense. It makes you look very unprofessional. It's very important that you have good, decent pricing. I would say research what's happening in the market. Find artists who are doing similar styles, similar things, and see what they are selling at. Also see how long they've been working. Because yes, someone who has been working for 5 years would be charging a lot more than someone who has worked their first year in.
Yeah.
So, because they've spent that 5 years of learning, there's a lot of work that's happening and sales that's happening. So there's a lot of that needs to be considered when you're pricing. Speak to people who are in the art industry. Speak to artists. Reach out to artists. Artists love helping artists. If that artist is not helping someone, if you reach out to someone and they're not helpful, then they're clearly not going anywhere, because this is a community. It's a community that thrives on everyone being uplifted. So I talk about all the artists possible, because it's very important to me that, like, because I do a certain type of art, right? Like, not everyone's going to want this. There's 7 billion people in the world. It would be like a glitch in the system if everyone loved one singular piece. So I like finding out, maybe it's just me, but I like finding out what people like and what kind of art they like, what style they like, and connecting them with people who are connecting them with artists who speak towards that style or that kind of storytelling.
Okay, so it's basically a very connection-based industry.
It is 100% a connection-based industry. So networking, fourth thing. Networking. I think it's a little bit like talking about your art, but talking about your art to people who are not on the internet. So go out to events, where there are interior designers, go out to events where there are construction people, like realtors, all of them. They're looking to enhance spaces. They might speak to galleries, we live in Dubai, which is so easy to get in touch with people. When I first started, I just checked online. I Googled I searched Instagram for all the open calls possible. And I reached out to people. And the first two was Artazar, and then it was Katrina, who is a Russian curator. And they're still my two go-tos when I need to know anything about the art space. And there's a reason for it, because they're really good at what they do. So create your own community, speak to people. Yes, okay, curators will have buyers, true, but they need to hear your story as well, right?
Yeah, I think that's really insightful. So do you have any social media platforms or anything where you share these tips?
So I do. I've actually started a series on TikTok where I was asked by one of my followers if I could share tips on how to make sales. And just to clarify, these are things that worked for me. It might not work for you exactly. We all have to experiment and try to find our own little way of speaking to our collectors. Also beware of a lot of NFT buyers, okay? Like, there are some genuine people, but also be careful about that. So there's a TikTok account, it's Art by Deeride, and I have an Instagram account that's also Art by Deeride. So those are my two main platforms where I showcase my art. Transparency in showcasing your art, okay? Be clear about your prices. Don't hide your prices. People need to see what your price is. So it's very important that you showcase your art and clearly list what these details are, where buyers can see them. You know, buyers want transparency so that they can immediately pick up a piece, because they were like, oh, okay, I know what the size is. I can fit it into the space that I want it in, and I know the price, and it's affordable enough for me. So it's important to do that as well.
Okay. So I think it's just so amazing that it's a community where people are constantly being uplifted. That's not very common to find, because in corporate, people are just constantly trying to push other people down. And, you know, to climb up the ladder, you got to push someone off and then take their place. But this is very nice to see that people are working hand in hand, and I think that's essentially how we need to view life as well. Wherein if we all work together, we can actually create something really beautiful, and everybody gets a chance to showcase themselves, to showcase their stories. And yeah, being an artist, art is very subjective. Art is very like each person, like it's open to interpretation. But it's also very cool. Like everyone looks at artists and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you're an artist. That's just like so amazing, and you must like have such a cool life. You're like making these paintings and you're selling stuff." But like, what is one thing that you would say that like people romanticize about art, like which actually doesn't exist? You know, like it's romanticized too much about like creativity and art, and it's like, okay, there are certain struggles there that you don't see that goes behind making all of this.
That discovery will be immediate.
Okay.
It doesn't work that way. Well, some of my first clients were mostly friends and family who bought into my art. And when I first started, I was literally selling for a few hundred dirhams. Like, because I did not think my art was something anyone would buy into. I think it's very important to have the confidence, but also, you know, one of my artist friends says, "You're so negative." I am not being negative. The world is very difficult. Someone will go like this. As soon as they put it out, it'll work for them. Mm-hmm. There are some other artists I know who are really, really talented, and I can't figure out for the life of me why they're not bigger than they are at this moment. So it's not always a straightforward journey, and I think it's very important to not romanticize that discovery. There's a misconception about artists that we don't work hard. We're just sitting at home and painting and it's la-di-da all the time. It really isn't. There's so much work that goes behind it. We're promoting our work, we're talking about our work, we're creating content, we're managing sales, we're doing commissions. There's so much work behind all of it, right? And it's a small business. If you are an artist who's trying to sell, it is a small business and it comes with the rigors of a small business. So there's a disillusion from the corporate side that artists' lives are very easy. And unfortunately, a lot of artists feed into that and they go like, "Oh, it'll be easy for me. I'll just make an art piece and everyone will want to buy it." And it's never that easy. And it's never, never is a wrong word. It's not always that easy. Mm-hmm. So it's very important to not romanticize that part of being an artist.
Okay. So Dee, that was just honestly really beautiful to hear about it. And yeah, I also do believe that manifesting and like praying about things, it really brings things into fulfillment, because it's like you believing in yourself. You believe that you are capable of that sale going through. And I think that's step one. You got to believe in yourself before anybody else believes in you. And if you don't believe in yourself, nobody's going to believe in you. You know, the work that you put into art, the faith, the trust that, okay, this is going to go out, this is going to sell. And we've spoken about not romanticizing the life of an artist. But I think one thing that I would definitely romanticize would be the experience that people go through when they see the art, the impact. So what is it that you hope that people take away when they see your art? What do you want them to experience?
I want them to feel. That's it. I don't have a particular emotion that I evoke of them. That's on them, what they feel, because art is supposed to be an escape. Okay? That is the biggest thing we all need to remember, is that art is supposed to be an escape. Our lives are difficult. We go through a lot of different things. We consume art in different formats, be that music, be that movies, be that dancing, paintings. And that's always a source of escape. And even if you are disgusted with my work, or you think a 5-year-old could do this, because I've got that comment a lot of times, I'm like, 100%, I made you react to it. I made you feel something. I made you feel happy, or whatever you felt, you know, inspired. for me, it's important that you feel. Art is not meant to be for everyone. It's not going to be cookie cutter style. Okay, everything's not going to work for everyone. Some pieces will be. I know people who love gory art. It's dark and it's moody and it looks really disturbing. But people love that. But I'm also not a girl who likes horror movies. So again, it's just about making you feel something for it. And that's the most important part of being an artist. I have to stop. The reason why I decided to name myself as artist Deeride is because I wanted that to be a separate entity to the person Danya. Because when I look at Deeride, Deeride's a brand. Deeride's the artist. Deeride gets to show her emotions. Deeride gets to be whimsical. She gets to be angry. She gets to be whatever she wants to be, right? And like people get to see those emotions on these canvases. But Danya has to maintain a very calm facade and mature person. I'm very immature. I'm a 40-year-old who's not at all serious about anything in life. And, I try to be this emotional being because that is what feeds my art. And that's Deeride. And it helps me as well in selling because I'm not selling for myself. Any doubts I have about my capabilities, no, I think Deeride's an amazing artist because that's someone else. She's someone who is creating stories as beautiful and people get to see it. So that's why the name, the artist Deeride.
So it's like an alter ego.
It's an alter ego. Absolutely. She gets to do anything at all. She gets to do all the fun stuff. Whereas Tanya has to be very proper.
I think as humans, we all react. We all have feelings. And the fact that that is the emotion that you want to invoke, whether it's positive or negative, I think that's really beautiful. Like as an artist, you're like, I don't care whether you like my art or whether you hate my art, whatever it is, you're looking at it and you're taking away from it. There's something that you're taking away.
Yeah.
And which is amazing because that means your art is getting noticed. So it's like any sort of publicity is fine. It's okay, like even bad publicity is still publicity.
Good publicity, yes.
So yeah, that was really beautiful, Dee. So I am so glad that you came on this podcast with us. Thank you for coming on the show.
I'm also very grateful that you've invited me and had me on your podcast. When I met you at World Art Dubai and the way you resonated with Worthy was so powerful even to me because I really made you feel, and that was the most important thing. So thank you so much for having me.
No, I've actually, so the Kintsugi form of art resonates with me personally because I was going through a very tough time in my life and somebody actually spoke to me about this form of pottery. This form of pottery, and it really changed the way I viewed myself as a person, that where I actually started looking at my flaws and my brokenness and my weaknesses as something that I shouldn't be looking down on, and rather like there's so much beauty within me. Even within all this brokenness, it still made me who I am today. It's made me a stronger person. It's made me a more enduring person, and all of these qualities that I have in myself now are because of all those like failures and all those like slip ups that I had.
Yeah.
So it really taught me to view myself as worthy, and it's a struggle. It's such a struggle to view yourself as worthy of anything, worthy of good things.
Because the world thrives on us not finding ourselves as worthy. Okay, the world thrives on us feeding into our insecurities, especially as women. Okay, we're told we're not fair enough, we're not thin enough, we're not pretty enough, we don't have the right eyes or the lips or the nose. Oh my God, my nose. I've had so many issues with my nose, and then when I pierced it and I was like, oh my God, this nose is amazing. It was like, why did I think anything else about it? So the world thrives on us being insecure and thinking less of ourselves. There are industries run on this. So I think the biggest rebellious act we can do is self-love and self-acceptance. It's the most radical thing you can do.
Yeah. So here's to like all of us feeling worthy, and I hope this podcast has made you realize that each of us is like perfect in our own way with all our imperfections and all our failures, weaknesses, successes and everything. So thank you so much, Dee, for coming on the show. I'm so glad to have had you here, And don't forget to please follow her on her TikTok page and her Instagram page. And yeah, bye. Hey everyone, don't forget to like, follow and subscribe to Everything is Portable on Instagram and YouTube. See you all on the next episode. Bye.